The basement. Ryan sat in his dimly lit basement room, the glow from his computer screen casting shadows across the walls. He had lived down there since he was 16 when he first started retreating from the world. Now, at 27, it had become his entire universe. The outside world felt distant, irrelevant, even hostile. The basement was his sanctuary, a place where he could be alone with his thoughts, his anger, and his endless hours spent scrolling through forums filled with others who felt as he did, rejected, misunderstood, and furious at the world that had seemingly turned its back on them. Upstairs, his parents, Bill and Karen, sat at the kitchen table, their voices low but tense. "We can't keep doing this, Bill," Karen said, her eyes tired and her voice heavy with concern. "He's almost 30, and all he does is sit down there, getting more and more lost in that toxic stuff online. We need to help him, but he won't listen to us. Maybe if we push him out, he'll be forced to figure things out." Bill sighed, rubbing his temples. "I know, but I'm worried about what'll happen if we do. He doesn't have any friends, no job, no plan. What if we make things worse?" "Things are already bad," Karen replied. "He's isolating himself, and it's not healthy. We can't let him rot away in that basement forever. We have to try something." Downstairs, Ryan could hear them talking. He knew they were discussing him again. They didn't understand. They couldn't. They were part of the system, the world that had rejected him and left him behind. To them, he was a problem to be fixed, but to Ryan, they were the problem. The tension between them had been growing for months. Ryan's parents had tried everything from gentle encouragement to outright demands, urging him to get a job, to go back to school, to at least get out of the house and do something. But Ryan refused. The world outside was cruel, and he didn't see the point. Why should he participate in a society that had nothing but contempt for him? The next morning, Bill knocked on the basement door. "Ryan, can we talk?" Ryan grunted in response but didn't move from his spot at the computer. Bill opened the door and stepped inside. The air was thick with the smell of stale food and unwashed clothes. "We need to talk about your future, son." Ryan didn't look up. "What about it?" "You can't keep living like this," Bill said, trying to keep his voice calm. "Your mother and I are worried about you. We want to help, but we can't do it if you're not willing to help yourself." Ryan finally turned to face his father, his expression hard and defensive. "I don't need help. I'm fine." Bill sighed. "You're not fine, Ryan. You're angry all the time, and you've shut yourself off from everything. This isn't a life. You're too young to give up." Ryan's eyes flashed with anger. "You don't get it, Dad. None of you do. The world's a mess, and there's no place in it for people like me. I'm not going to be some wage slave or chase after some girl who's just going to use me. I see through the lies." "Ryan," Bill said softly, "that's not true. You're smart, and you've got so much potential, but you're throwing it all away down here." Ryan stood up abruptly, his chair scraping against the concrete floor. "I'm not throwing anything away. I'm just not buying into the same crap you did. You and Mom want me to be something I'm not. I won't do it." Bill looked at his son, feeling a deep sadness. "We're not against you, Ryan. We just want you to be happy, but you're not. And if you can't see that, then maybe it's time you found your own place, figured out your own way." Ryan's heart raced. He had always known this day might come, but he hadn't expected it to feel like this. It wasn't just anger now, it was fear. What would he do if they kicked him out? He didn't have anywhere else to go. "You're kicking me out?" Ryan's voice trembled slightly, though he tried to hide it. "We don't want to," Bill said, his own voice shaky. "But we think it might be what you need, a chance to find yourself, to make your own decisions." Ryan stared at his father, a mix of emotions churning inside him: anger, fear, resentment, and a deep, unspoken longing for something he couldn't name. Without another word, he turned and sat back down at his computer, dismissing his father with a cold shoulder. Bill stood there for a moment, then turned and left, the weight of the conversation pressing down on him like a lead blanket. That night, Ryan lay awake in his bed, staring at the ceiling. The words his father had said echoed in his mind. What if they did kick him out? What if he had to leave the basement, the only place he felt safe? The thought terrified him. But somewhere deep down, a small part of him wondered if maybe, just maybe, they were right. He hated the idea of leaving, of facing the world outside, but he also hated the way he felt, the emptiness that gnawed at him, even as he buried himself deeper in the online world. He didn't want to admit it, but he was lonely, and maybe if he left, he could find something more, something real, but that was a risk, and Ryan wasn't sure he was ready to take it. So for now, he stayed in the basement, clinging to the only life he knew, even as his parents upstairs wondered how much longer they could watch their son slip further away. Hey everyone, thanks for listening to today's story. Now I want to hear from you. Let's make this a collaborative experience. In the comments section, I want you to continue the story where we left off. How does Ryan respond to the possibility of being kicked out? Does he take a chance and leave the basement? Or does something unexpected happen? Get creative, dive deep, and let your imagination run wild. The comment with the most likes will have their version of the story continued in my next video. So make sure to like your favorite continuation, and maybe your story will be the one that shapes where Ryan's journey goes next. Can't wait to see what you all come up with. Thank you all, and cheers, baby, cheers.